Another guy who got paid, the first guy who got paid, even though he's one of the newest arrivals for the LA Rams, Matthew Stafford, not throwing in the offseason because of an elbow issue. He got an anti-inflammatory shot not that long ago. He was asked recently whether he'll be throwing when training camp begins, because he's not throwing now. Here he is.
You do expect to throw in training camp?
Yeah, definitely. I'm progressing kind of into that and through that at the moment, so I'm just trying to make sure that we're smart, but at the same time be, as ready to go as I can possibly be come day one when we're out there throwing the ball around. As I'm progressing, personally, through my program, kind of getting ready to go, I'll be around the guys. We'll be finding time. It's a great thing about being in Southern California. Everybody wants to be here anyways. So it'll be great to be able to get out there and get some work with some of those guys.
Yeah, look, it's not a huge concern, but it's a concern.
Yeah.
You'd like your quarterback to be able to throw the football 4 months removed from the last football game that was played.
No doubt. I mean, again, I'm not. I think you said it right. Like, I'm not overly concerned, but I'm sitting there going, "Damn, we're sitting here in June and we still can't throw the football." I mean, I'm a little worried. I mean, not that I'm worried. To me, worried that okay, we start training camp and here it is, a little like last year where he's battling tendonitis in the elbow and some issues there. He had a number of issues that he dealt with physically last year. And I think, we kind of saw those kind of come to a head when he went through some of the rough parts of the season there. His arm was tired because he was beat up, had the tendonitis in the elbow, think he had a bad finger, had something with his foot and ankle. So all of that was a little concerning. But, man, anytime I hear about a quarterback that's, like you said, we're 4 months removed from the Super Bowl and we're still not quite throwing the football, yeah, I worry a little bit. I'm not going to say I'm like on red alert, code red territory yet, but certainly perked up going, damn, I'd be a little nervous and squirmy if I was in the Rams organization.
Elbow, a fairly important
very
piece of the broader apparatus that is utilized in the throwing of the football. And you think about the force that his arm utilizes and harnesses to throw the football the way that he does. And even if it gets to the point where everything's fine by the time they go to camp, there has to be a question about whether or not it will hold up as we get into the season. What was the root cause? What is it that made
That's the big thing.
The elbow and
Right.
still maybe making the elbow become irritated? I've had tendinitis in various parts of my body. I used to get patella tendinitis when I played basketball because we'd play on concrete or carpet on top of concrete or whatever.
Right.
And it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
It just doesn't want to go away. And here he is with this issue. And I think back to Terry Bradshaw, not because I don't know what the specific diagnosis is for Matthew Stafford. They haven't told us what it is other than maybe tendinitis. But remember Bradshaw, well, you were like in diapers then.
No, but I know the story.
Bradshaw had a little minor elbow
Right.
surgery. He checked into the Shreveport Hospital under the name Thomas Brady in March of 1983. Fixed, everything's fine, good to go. Not good to go. Played one more game for the Steelers in his career, and he was 35 at the time. Oh, Matthew Stafford's 34.
Yeah.
Now, I know that 40 years removed, 35 is kind of like, 28, but still, there's an issue that clearly is impeding Matthew Stafford right now, and they obviously hope that this shot and the passage of time and whatever rehab and training he's getting will get him ready to go. And we have no reason to think it won't, other than the fact that the issue is there.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that he can't throw now. That's our only piece of evidence to be concerned about his ability to throw the football for 17 regular season games and whatever many playoff games they end up playing in.
Yeah, no doubt. And especially with the guy he's a big arm quarterback. I mean, he is. That's what makes him special. He made a ton of huge throws in the Super Bowl. Huge throws in the NFC Championship game, bomb off his back foot against the Buccaneers versus the Blitz to win that one. I mean, his arm it's his moneymaker. I mean, it's special. That's why he's, been in the Chris Sims top 10 for the last few years. He can throw lasers, sidearm. He puts a lot of pressure on that elbow. Like this right there. It's all, to your point, hinged on the elbow with those type of throws. And, like, this guy throws more sidearm, awkward delivery throws is just about as much as anybody in football. He's up there with Mahomes and Josh Allen that way, let alone he's doing this right here. Oh, let me run to the left and throw a post 65 yards back the other way. So he puts a lot of pressure on that. And, yes, he's a guy that's been beat up throughout his career, playing on some crappy Lions teams. He's played tough. That's where I worry about him. Is it the wear and tear of everything and, tendinitis and things like that you discussed with your knee and all that? Yeah, it's usually from wear and tear, banging your leg on the concrete, playing, basketball all the time. And all of a sudden some muscle shuts off a little bit. Now another muscle has to work hard and the joints compromise and all that. Hey, that happens at quarterback with your arm too. I've had tendinitis. You take a few hits in the ribs or in the armpit or whatever, and all of a sudden something's not working right, and all of a sudden the elbow's doing double time, and you're going, damn, I can't grip the football. It hurts. We've seen a lot of great quarterbacks through it. Remember, Brett Favre had to deal with it one year where he was fighting through it the whole year. So that's where I worry about it, and I worry about him. And they got to make sure they take it slow in training camp and make sure they get that thing slowly back in shape and ready to go so we can throw 150 balls in a day and not be worried or bothered by it.
Well, it definitely is something to put on the radar screen if you're a Rams fan at a time when everything seems to be going well. We just have to wait and see about Matthew Stafford. And the other quarterbacks on the roster currently are John Wolford and Bryce Perkins. I look at it this way. I don't know. They liked Wolford enough to bench Jared Goff for him in the playoffs 2020.
Yeah.
So presumably McVay believes in Wolford sufficiently,
I think so,
to let him play if Matthew Stafford can't. But they didn't make any moves. Not that there's a bunch of quarterbacks out there that they could even begin to afford. This is one of the examples, one of the tangible examples. When you're paying all these guys, it's not like you can go out and get yourself a $10 million a year backup.
You're right. That's
you got to go with John Wolford.
You got to go with the guy that
Stafford
you developed. Yeah, exactly right. You've taught him the offense, and yeah, he's not as talented, but we think he can at least run the offense, and then Sean McVay will find a few tricks to make him a little bit better than what he actually is. Yeah, you're right. That's what they have to do. It's what they got to do with a lot of positions on their football team if the injuries hit, and to your point that you made earlier.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.